to Jessi Pink Pilates, your home to get fit, toned, and flexible as we strengthen, stretch, and smile. We are back with another Wall Princess Pilates workout. I am here. I just have my mat at the wall. I have a little bit of cushioning just because because I have a wire there that's kind of ugly, and I do have some molding at my wall. I have just because it is comfortable. You could do these standing. I'm doing them kneeling just because it's a little easier once I'm laying with the way my walls are set up. I live in Gotham, New York. I'm going to be at my wall. I'm going to snuggle in really close. I'm going to bring my arm into this L shape, and I'm going to start to twist away from the wall, right? And I'm just moving. So I'm moving out and in, and we're going to do that about 20 times. And then my arm in this L shape, my elbows at my shoulder height. So that's 5. And make sure to take nice deep breaths and respect your body. My elbow is at about shoulder height and my elbow's at about 90 degrees. If it's too much on your knees, you can sit or stand in any way that feels right for your body. We're gonna go ahead and take it over to the other side and pretty much just exactly the same thing. We're going to go into our hip flexor lunges. No need for the bolster. You can always pad your knees. As you can see, I am under both a mat and I've got a little rug there. I'm starting out bending into my knees. My hips are squared to the short end of my mat, and I'm aiming to get my knee over that mid foot and my hips down towards the floor. Make sure you're breathing and try to smile. My back a little bit here, and that feels good for me, and if that doesn't feel good for you, you don't have to do it. The pulsing is very gentle. It doesn't hurt me at all. I'm just loosening up my hips. Now I'm holding onto the wall with my inside hand, and my outside hand is starting to draw circles. We'll do some in one direction and then some in the other direction. I'm trying to keep my hips really square to the front edge of my mat. And I'm trying to really keep my hips pretty still. My knee is staying right over that midfoot. My abs and my core are engaged. Getting into some hamstring mobility. This is our kneeling lunge to our hamstring split, pretty much a mainstay in most hamstring flexibility programs. Just going back and forth gently, reaching into that front heel. I'm not the most flexible. If you're more flexible than me, go for it. We're going to start to take some holds on that side. I'm drawing my nose towards that knee. My hands are gently on my thigh. My spine is relatively neutral here. There's benefits to doing both, but I like to really send my hips back to maximize the length in the back of my thigh. Make sure you're breathing, and my pulsing is very gentle. Let's get ready to do that all on the other side. Be aware it might feel different. You can always pad your knees. I've got that inside hand on the wall, and for all of them, I'll be squaring off my hips. Make sure you're taking nice deep breaths and keep that knee right over your midfoot. My heel and my toes are planted down. All 5 of my left toes are really pushing into my mat. Going into those shoulder circles now in that hip flexor lunge. keeping my hips square. Nice deep breaths. And really just circling that arm around and around inside the shoulder socket, keeping the torso really still. Make sure you do both directions. Let's get deeper into our hips, and let's get into that lunge to split, to focus on the back of our thighs. Remember to keep your hips as square as possible and to respect your body. You can keep one hand on the wall like I am. If you can get deeper into the stretch, of course, get deeper into the stretch. Try to hold for a moment or two in each position. Try to keep your core working and try to get a little bit deeper with each movement. So every time you go back, see if you can get a little bit deeper into that hamstring. And every time you come forward, see if you can get a little bit deeper into that lunge. Now let's see if we can hold for a big, deep stretch. Don't be afraid to wiggle around. You can put your hands on your thighs, your shins are even to the floor. Get as deep as you can. What feels good. If your stretches start to make you hold your breath or feel anxious or tense, you probably are going a little bit too far. Try to make sure that you're able to breathe and never make it past to the point that it feels painful. We're going to start getting into our hamstrings and inner thighs against the wall, our inversions. These are great to keep the blood from pooling into your feet. So if you work on your feet a lot or you're just a little bit tired, these are great to relax. You can put a block or a pillow underneath your hips. I have some rugs and a mat underneath me. You can also bend your knees. I am squaring off my hips, and I think it's helpful to keep your spine neutral. Hands overhead will definitely deepen it, but I think that feels really good. It will increase your lung capacity, so you'll be breathing really deep. I am starting to flex my toes, if you can see that there, which will also get me deeper into the back of my thighs. These will definitely start to get more and more intense. You can see I'm starting to feel that burn. These feel oh so good. Just keep breathing. You got this. We're going to do our Pilates ab scissors. We're alternating our legs, just a variation on some classic mat exercises. I'm flexing my toes and pulling my leg in towards me. You can lift your head if that feels good or leave it down if that feels better. Now let's start to just hold one side, wiggle it in and out, rotating it in and out, and just a little bit of ankle mobility, circling my ankles in and around as I pull that thigh in towards me. I'm still keeping my spine relatively neutral, and it's pretty gentle. Definitely trying to mobilize that leg in as many ways as possible to really maximize that wall stretch. Now we're gonna get into our inner thighs and hamstrings by opening our feet wide. Again, you can bend your knees, and again, I'm not super flexible, so if you can get deeper, by all means do it. I am definitely going to recommend that you keep that little curve in your back, that neutral spine, and really breathe deep. You can take your hands on up, breathe deep. Also play around with flexing and pointing your toes. If you need to, always just come up for a second and rejoin us. Conversely, you can also do these stretches for longer than I'm having us do it if you want to really get flexible. See if maybe you can open your feet a little bit more every few seconds. I'm just allowing gravity to pull me down and down. It feels so good to relax against the wall. Let's start to windshield wipe the legs up and down to really strengthen the muscles in a long position and to work our flexibility and almost seal it in. Try to work the thighs equally and keep that core working with that spine in that neutral position. Just a few more. Flexibility is hard work. Even if you're laying down, you showed up, and I'm so happy you did. Let's go ahead and come on up and get into some of the final moves, which are definitely some of my favorite and most challenging. We're going to be putting one shin against the wall for that deep hip flexor and quad stretch. So I've got my shin pretty much pressed against the wall. I'm starting with my hands on the floor and one hand on that knee, and I'm going to slowly start to make my way up. Again, you can go back into one of the earlier hip flexor lunges if this is too much for you, and if you can get deep to the floor, or you can really sit all the way back to the wall, then do it. This is really great if you sit a lot, if you run, if you want to prevent low back pain. It is great to stretch those hip flexors. I'm adding in some side bend mermaids to really get a three-dimensional stretch on that hip flexor, and we will be doing that in both directions. So let's take another deep breath in, bring that hand down, and take the other arm up and over. Heading on over to the other side, getting into those hip flexor lunges. It always feels different on one side than the other, and it might not be the side that you think. The dominant side might be the tighter side, so my right side tends to be tighter. Always respect your body. Slowly take it in, and you can pad your knee, you can double up your mat, you can stick a t-shirt or a towel underneath your knee or against your shin. You can also do this against a couch or a bed if you don't have access to a wall. We are going to take another deep breath in and out. If you can get a little bit deeper and back up, that's great. Keep your chest really proud. Add the side bend mermaids in here. Few deep breaths, arm over ear to the other side. Let's go ahead and take that other side bend. Few more deep breaths in and out. And let's carefully come on out and go into a round of cat-cows. I am so proud of you for doing this. I am so excited that you're here. Do me a favor, comment below and let me know what it is you want to see next. And stay tuned for more Pink Pilates Princess fun.